Hello everyone, this is Gary from the Seer's Cave, and I thought I would do another deck walkthrough video for you. And the deck that I've chosen for today is my Druidcraft Tarot deck. This is the box here, and it has this rather excellent picture. It's quite a large box, it's maybe a little difficult to get on the camera, but the picture on it is of the Empress card, and I have to say, I might just move the camera slightly for this. There we go. It is, there it is, sideways. It is one of the most difficult boxes I've ever seen to get into. This is why I've split this up today, because it really takes a lot of getting into. It's such a tight fit. You just have to try to prise the bottom out, and then there it is. It's a very, very sturdy box indeed, and but it fits so incredibly tightly. There's the back of it there, and what you get in the box I'll go through in a moment. Now the deck itself is by Philip and Stephanie Carr-Gomm, and the illustrations are by an amazing artist by the name of Worthington, and I must admit I do love his work. So we have the box there, and here we have the booklet that comes with the box, and I'm just going to go through that a little bit for you. It's got this rather curious sort of brown sepia effect, or sort of reddish brown it's showing up on the camera, but it, to me, actually is a little grayer in person, so to speak. And it's pretty well the same colour that you have on the backs of the cards. And as you go through, you have this sort of, well, it's not quite grayscale, because it's sort of red scale, really, effect in the pages. Now, interestingly enough, there's quite a section within this. You have an introduction, which is there, several pages, and then once you get past the introduction, they start talking about the minor arcana and the sort of relationships between major and minors, and there's a lot of information in the book before they actually get to the minor arcana itself and going through the various cards. Now, one thing I do find quite interesting about the way this book works, if I bring this up closely, you'll notice on the left hand page there we have Princess of Wands, on the right hand page we have Princess of Swords. As we move down, we have Princess of Cups and Princess of Pentacles. What they actually do with this card, they do it throughout the whole of the minor arcana, is they take all of the numbers and all of the court cards, and they directly compare them with their divination meanings and their reversal meanings as well, and also a series of keywords. And then once you get through the minors, they talk about the major arcana. Now, interestingly, they call the minor arcana the outer mysteries, and the majors they call the inner mysteries in this book. They then talk about the Fool's Journey, which is the 22 cards of the major arcana, and they go through quite a lot of depth of that. And then each of the cards, for example, here we have the Magician. Each of the cards has a message. It has some keywords here, which are very hard to see on the camera. It has a meaning. Then it has some keywords and a meaning for reversals as well. It's a very, very in-depth book. And then right at the very end, we get right to the very end of it, we have a small section on a sample reading using a thing called the hexagram spread, which, as you can see, is basically a 6-pointed star. Now I do believe there was at one stage a larger book printed in an earlier edition of this deck, and that went into more detail with spreads, but this is the version that I have, and it's quite a handy little companion. Now obviously the most important thing here are the cards themselves, and here they are. As you can see, we have that same continuation of the brown theme on the backs, and we have this wonderful, wonderful little gilt knotwork backing, and also in the corners as well. Some of the nicest cards I think I've ever seen. Large size. I don't have the biggest of hands, but these are really nice size to shuffle, and they're really good quality. Now there's a lot of cards here, so I'll be going through these really fast, but I'll just sort of show you a few of them. There we have the Six of Swords with the 3 people in the boat. I mean, the sort of the colours that you get and the images that you get in the cards are amazing. There we have the Five of Pentacles, which is very, very interesting because, I mean, we have this idea with the Five of Pentacles of sort of loss, but also help coming in unexpected ways. And here's the woman with the pentacles on her belt, and she's obviously in quite a distressed state. But as you can see, we have the sun in the background here. We have that light of hope, and also very interesting. We have, and I'll bring this up so you can see it. We have a little, what looks like a reindeer or deer of some sort, and it's being chased by a hound. That's tiny little details like that that you can pick up on that are very interesting with this deck. It has a lovely border as well, which I'm a great fan of. I mean, you can see the colour, when I lay it down, you can see the colour of blue in that. The colours are amazing. Just running through quickly, we have the Two of Cups, looks like that. And then we have Three of Pentacles. And the quality of the drawings are absolutely astounding. Then we have, this is the image from the front of the book actually, if I just compare them for you. There's the front of the book, and there's the same image actually in the card in full glorious colour. And then we have the Seven of Wands, and even what we've even got in the details here is we've even got different colours in the metal. You can see that, the sort of steel tip and the sort of brass tipped or bronze tipped spears. And I have to say, this deck doesn't worry too much about, with the Suit of Wands in particular, worry too much about everything being staffs. Here, the attacking forces, if you like, are carrying spears, but our defender is carrying a quarterstaff. So, you know, they do mix those quite freely, and I'm quite happy with that, in fairness. Then again, we have some fabulous colours in the Five of Wands. In this particular case, they are all wands. And we also have another interesting little detail. We have this male chicken, this cock, in the foreground, which rather makes you feel that this little tussle here is all about masculinity and dominance, and in a sense a cockfight. And then we have the Sun card, an amazing halo around the boy's head, and Eight of Cups, where you can see the figure moving on. And then look at the energy in that. That's the Ace of Wands. It's a phenomenal deck, it really is. I'm just sort of going through. I mean, it would take a long time. We've only gone that many cards through, so it would really take a long time to go through. But if I just pick some out randomly, we have the card of Rebirth, which in a more Rider-Waite style deck would be called Judgment. An interesting thing to note with these cards is that these very much draw on the Celtic mythology. They draw on Druid belief and Druid mythology. So they move away to some extent from the kind of, I suppose, what you might call Christian way of looking at things. So you don't tend to see, for example, angels in these cards. We have the Seven of Pentacles with the figure using a bowline to just cut some herbs there. And this is the Fool card, which unusually, it's a little difficult to tell, but I do believe this is a female Fool card. And again, you really got this sense of her going off the cliff here, and the dog kind of going with her to some extent. But again, it's a fantastic card. Just picking out the High Priestess. In some cards, a very calm looking image, but not in this deck. Here we have a real sort of wild woman, perhaps in the throes of some kind of meditation, sort of ecstatic expression of her gifts, with the moon in the sky here. It's an absolutely incredible image. And there's the Empress from the front of the box, who in this deck is called the Lady, so that's worth bearing in mind as well. Again, they change some of the associations. For example, here's one that's worth mentioning. I'm just flicking through to show you some of them. We have the Chariot featuring the chieftain Boudica. So it really does draw on that sort of way of thinking and that whole mythology. Just see if I can find. We've got a very interesting Hermit card. There he is. There's a card I'm looking for in particular. I'm just seeing if any sort of jump out at me. Now, what we have here is a card which I have to say I can't really pronounce. This is the equivalent of the Temperance card, and it's, I think, Verrilt, but you know, please don't shoot me if I if I pronounce that incorrectly. It's a very, very unusual card. It has a rainbow in the background, and we have a lady mixing her potions, standing over a cauldron. It does actually make me feel and think of the goddess Ceridwen when I look at this. I was actually looking to see if I could have found. Oh, here is the magician who we saw in the book, and I was actually looking. And Justice is a woman warrior. She has a sword in one hand. She has the Owl of Wisdom here. Again, fantastic imagery in this deck. And we have the High Priest there. I was actually having a look to see if I could have seen. Here he is. I'll show you him in a moment, in fact, because how's that for an evocative image? If that isn't the Lady of the Lake bringing Excalibur, I don't know what is. It's an incredible image there with the sword. There it is. The colours are just so deep in these cards, it's amazing. And as a final one, just to illustrate, we have the card of the Lord. This is the Emperor. So if you think about all that power and majesty and strength that the Emperor card embodies, this really does have that in spadefuls. He's there, he's got his staff, and it's interesting the details you notice when you really look, because if you can see here, just about make that out on the camera, we have this little almost lightning bolt, which is the rune Sigil or Sawullo. And that is a rune of power. That is about bright energy and power and the sun. Perfect for the Emperor. Absolutely perfect. So, I hope you've enjoyed this little walk through the Druidcraft Tarot. Please do let me know, what thoughts you have, and feel free to make some comments and some suggestions, and maybe suggest other decks you would like me to have a walk through with you. And definitely check this one out if you like really, really good quality artwork, and you have at all a sort of Celtic or Druid bent when it comes to what you like in images. This deck will definitely not disappoint. And at a later stage I will actually review some of the other Will Worthington illustrated decks, including the Wildwood, which is a very similar kind of deck but slightly smaller, and has a slightly different twist with it. So anyway, I want to wish everyone watching a wonderful day. Enjoy your decks, whatever they are, and many blessings, love and light to all.